This is Design Safe Radio, where natural hazards researchers strive to make our society more resilient to everything nature throws at us.
We've been touching on this a little bit, but we'd like to go into more detail. Just really reiterating when it comes to implementing these risk mitigation policies, like why is it so important to understand how people actually make decisions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question, and that's really where a lot of our focus is. And I think it's I alluded to it before, but basically we think no one type of stakeholder can fix hurricane risk. There's a whole bunch of different players, and they have different roles to play, and they see the situation differently. So for example, an insurance company understandably is going to want to make profit every year. Like I said before, some people won't accept a buyout offer, even if your cost benefit calculation says they should. And communities are going to want to encourage economic development in addition to managing risk.
Right.
So all of these different stakeholders have different objectives. They have different alternatives available to them. They have different constraints. And so it's complicated to understand how the whole disaster risk management system as a whole works. And so that's really what we want to understand better to try to get solutions that will be implemented. And yeah, so like I said, instead of kind of deciding this is what the community should look like, these, from an engineering point of view, or this is where we should be building and how we should build, and now let's just come up with some marketing campaign to convince people to do it. It seems like that doesn't, you can only get so far with that. It's important. Education is important, but it's not just about people behaving irrationally or not doing what they should do. It's it's more complicated than that, and there are good reasons that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the sides of it, just moving house for a household, even in the best of circumstances, is hard, and we don't want to do it.
Right, and there's also a lot of places that have hazards also have lovely amenities, and they have they have good jobs, and they have good schools, and there's other reasons you want to live there. So the question is, can we figure out a way to try to manage the risk, minimize it as much as we can, and be prepared to recover when there's inevitable losses, but at the same time, not expect people to just leave the home they've always known, or leave their job, or so it's and there is a huge body of research that social scientists have done to understand the decision making and the behavior, but I don't think it's been fully implemented into the engineering decision models.
Right.
And same with equity. There's been research that sort of highlighted that losses are not evenly distributed across the population. So we know that exists, but it hasn't so much been incorporated into the solution. Okay, we know inequities exist, but how do you design a policy that will address that up front?
Yeah, how does that go into a building code?
Yeah. And it's interesting, all these different interventions also, there are building codes like you just suggested, there's buyout programs I mentioned, there's insurance, there's some local communities have grants to offer retrofit, to help households retrofit. And they all kind of address the risk in different ways. They all have different pluses and minuses. And so it's really trying to look at the whole system. We don't usually talk about it this way, but just like there's a healthcare system in the US, and there's a educational system, a criminal justice system, we do have a disaster risk management system.
Yeah.
It wasn't really designed as a whole. It's kind of evolved.
It just is. Yeah.
But that's really what we're trying to look at, is how does the system as a whole work? So what combination of these interventions would be best for, or what would be the implications of different ones?
Yeah, and it really requires a whole system thinking approach.
Yeah,
exactly. Sounds like that's what you guys are doing.
That's what we're
Have you heard
working
of this guy is like a completely different field. A guy named Chris Voss, who's a retired FBI hostage negotiator.
on. No.
Oh my gosh. So
But I'm
try to
really
keep this a
intrigued
very
how this
short
is gonna
tangent, but
paint back.
he's done a lot of work in communicating how people make decisions through the lens of negotiating. His experience negotiating with hostages, but doing it in a way that is taking into account what people care about and helping them get it in a way that also gets you what you want.
Interesting.
He's got a great book called Never Split the Difference that I've used in a bunch of different ways.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I find decision making so interesting. And there's a lot of different disciplines have different takes on it. So, economists think about it one way, psychologists think about it one way. There's a lot of business literature about it. And then there's like normative decision making, like how should you make decisions? And I just think it's a really interesting topic. And so, yeah, I'll look that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know if you do and end up reading it. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it sounds like CHEER has got a target-rich environment and plenty of job security for the next 5 years and hopefully longer. Where can people find out what you're up to and follow along and get involved with what you and your team are up to?
Yeah, well, we would love to have people look us up. We have a website that's I should share it with you. That's through the UD Disaster Research Center.
Marty will add this to the show notes for those who are driving or working out or doing all the things that we usually do when we're listening to podcasts.
So it's drc.udel.edu/cheer. But yeah, add it to the show notes. And there you can also subscribe to our e-newsletter, and we're launching a LinkedIn website, a LinkedIn page any minute now. So hopefully you can follow us there. But yeah, we're hoping, I think in a way, this is also kind of an approach. We're not going to answer all these questions. We're not going to solve all these problems, but hopefully it kind of could also set up a framework that, other people can continue the research with. Just like when the loss modeling framework was set up, there was a first approach to the hazard models and the vulnerability models, and then we've spent the last few decades making those better and better. So I think there's a huge amount of opportunity to continue work in this direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know we've got a lot of grad students who listen to this. There are, as of this recording, August, what the heck day is it? The 13th? There's 7 positions open. You guys are hiring postdocs, PhDs, among others. So yeah, we also have a summer scholars program. So we have undergrads from across the country come as well as some Bill Anderson Fund fellows who join us for that. But yeah, we're very open to finding collaborations and as much as we can, because like I said, there's no risk that we're going to run out of challenges. Yeah, exactly. That is one risk that we don't have to mitigate. Well, Rachel, it has been really, really fun talking to you. I'm looking forward to connecting more as you guys get going with CHEER. My gears are spinning already. So anything that we could do from the NCO to help out with, or have you back on the podcast sometime, or hang out at AGU and talk at the booth, any of that would be really, really great to help you guys out as you get going. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on the show and talk to you about this. It's great. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much. Have a good one. All right. Take care. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Design Safe Radio. Be sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to be listening to this on. It really helps people find our show. Thanks to our amazing sponsors, the National Science Foundation and the NHERI Network Coordination Office, which is award number 2129782. Big thank you to Marty LaChance, our guest booker and topic researcher extraordinaire, and Raquel Ruiz, who is our video and audio editor. I'm your host and NHERI Facility Scheduling and Operations Coordinator, Dan Zahner. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay resilient.